My son got into some trouble at school yesterday from another kid. It was a bit weird. This other child was a bit mean to him, which is hard because, you know, when your kids come and tell you that stuff, it's like you're immediately caught between two very primal urges. You know, on the one hand, you have the urge to set a good example, don't you? Of course. So you can teach your son how to be an emotionally mature young man, how to handle the morons that life will endlessly throw at him. And then concurrently, you have the other urge, the second urge, to hunt the other kid down and beat the shit out of him, you know? To protect him, to protect your son. That urge is there also. And it's hard to fight that urge. It is. You know? It's hard to fight the urge to be a 44-year-old man physically assaulting an 8-year-old boy. Because that's the urge. It's in there. It's primal. Sometimes it's incredibly hard to keep those feelings at bay. I remember when I did a CBT a few years ago, and I told the therapist about how fearful I was about my son, and how immediately protective this sort of thing made me feel. Like I don't want him to ever feel as vulnerable as I had at times in my childhood. Or indeed as damaged as I probably am through my father, like not being around so much. And her response to it was, you know, it's quite reasonable, really. She just goes, right, but I mean, you said another kid just sort of bumped into him accidentally in the Softplay, didn't you? Like that's all it was. So I mean, it's not like how vulnerable and brittle could he feel off the back of another child just accidentally brushing past him a little bit hard? You know? Like, would you feel traumatized over that one time when you were like, how old was he then? He was about like 2 or 3 years old. Would you still feel traumatized by something that happened when you were like 2 or 3 years old? I was like, oh, well, no, not really. But like, that's when you know that you have some sort of unresolved trauma in your psyche, is when your own neglect and abandonment issues play out in your parenting. I think that's what was happening there. You know, like my son gets gently brushed to the side in Softplay, and immediately I just trip switch to like, I have to protect him. I have to. Did you see that? Did you see what the other kid did to him? I have to protect him. Like he has to feel safe at all times. Come here, Jacob. Come here, Jacob. Are you okay? Meanwhile, my girlfriend's looking over going like, are you okay? What's going on there? You know, she's like, I didn't realize it was possible for a grown man to be this triggered coming to the Softplay. It's like the most easy to survive thing ever. They are their safest when they're in the Softplay, and yet somehow, Aid, you've turned this into a big thing. Meanwhile, I'm just sort of, you know, rocking back and forth, having flashbacks in the fucking ball pit.